So how did you get to tell us about this whole project that you have with the headbands? Because it's so interesting to me.
Thank you. Well, as I said, I started out as a laughter leader, and my business name at that time was Gold Coast Giggles, because I live on the Gold Coast of Long Island, and I figured if I ever had to move, there's got to be a Gold Coast somewhere else, so I wouldn't have to worry about changing my name and doing different marketing tactics. And I did that for a while, and my daughter at the time, who's now 25, had taken some time off, and she was in Guatemala City. And we went down to visit her, and we happened to be in a marketplace where I saw headbands being sold. And they weren't anything like what I've created, but they were designed in a way where they opened up almost like a bandana. And I thought to myself initially, wouldn't this be great for children? And my immediate thought was, for children who are undergoing chemo and radiation, I wish they could celebrate Halloween every day of the year instead of just one day. Not so much for the candy, but just for that feeling of the imagination part behind it. And so I had brought back about 20 headbands and gave a few away. But I knew that this particular fabric, which was a cotton fabric, wouldn't help the population who are undergoing chemo and radiation or losing their hair, or people who have alopecia. So what I did was I found fabric through talking to many people. I found this fabric that feels like a hug. It's really soft and squishy, has a very high sun protected factor to it, and that it could be printed. And one of the people I spoke to happens to be a neighbor of mine who had been an interior designer and a graphic artist and worked with children. And she's my co-founder. Her name is Joni Acola. And, I told her my idea about having it Halloween every day of the year. And she said, why is this my dream and why not a child's dream? And I said, what do you suspect? What are you telling me? And so we created together the Healing Headbands Project. And so basically what we do is we work with any population who's going through serious illness, and we help them feel better. And, so help is the crux of that sentence, because I'm not a comedian where I make people laugh. I help them laugh, utilizing my laughter skills. And then after we laugh, at least 20 minutes, these silly improv-like exercises, like I was explaining earlier, the brain shifts. Perception is different. You're more open to the people in the room. Your confidence level is boosted. Your self-esteem feels better, and your heart rate has been exercised. So it's an aerobic workout. And then everybody sits down. They paint, and I supply the paper, the paints, the paintbrushes, the whole thing. And what happens is the artwork that comes from each of these participants is filled with wonderment. The colors are bright and cheery. I mean, for young children, there are lots of rainbows sometimes, but on the whole, you're dealing with people who aren't necessarily artists. So, if you have an artist, they'll have an idea of what they want to, create. But you're dealing with people, regular people who probably never hold a paintbrush. Maybe if they hold a paintbrush, maybe once in a whole year, if that. And so their artwork is just transformative. And what I do with their artwork is I get it printed on this magical fabric that feels delicious. It's like, to make it sound so appealing. And so then what happens is the fabric comes back to us like a gigantic tablecloth, and we cut and sew it up, and we send each individual headband back to the artist. Now, if it's from a child, we'll send their artwork back with them as well, and the headband. And then we make maybe a little wristband from their artwork. So it's a whole ensemble. And when they receive the finished product, we tell them they can wear their happiness.
Wow. That's amazing. I can see the whole picture in my mind of having this painting party and laughter, yoga sessions, and then having them sit down and feel so good in their body and their mind and their spirit and the colors, and then getting this back in the mail. That's another gift. So that's really amazing. So at this point, are people finding you? Are you going out to different organizations? How do people find you? So I want to make sure everybody can get to you.
Thank you. Well, our website is www.healingheadbands, the S at the end, .com. We've just set up an e-commerce site so you can see some of the headbands that were developed, and we're making them available to people. And we're creating like a headband of the month. We've done wonderful programs. We did a program with a school, the Locust Valley Intermediate School. One of their children in the 5th grade has leukemia, and one of the assistant VPs has breast cancer. And we did 100 students. We did 50 in the morning and 50 in the afternoon, this program. And they were able to get their headbands in time for Relay for Life. And it teaches children empathy. We've done lots of Girl Scout troops throughout Long Island. We've been in many hospitals throughout New York. We were in 3 hospitals in California. We're going to Florida at the end of the month for 3 hospitals. We've been to St. Jude's. We really want to take this program global because everybody needs to heal. We all have something that's holding us back, or it may not be an illness. It could be anything, not getting that job promotion or anything. We come into this earth pure, but when we leave, unfortunately, we don't leave as pure as we came in. And so this program needs to reach as many as possible. And so we're always looking for sponsors. We've had wonderful sponsors in the past and continue to get that. But one of my dreams is to teach the child life specialists in these hospitals to become laughter leaders so that they can hook up with the art therapists that are already in the hospitals, and then they can do the Healing Headbands project there. And it's a great team building thing. We're working on doing walks. We just did a vision walk where every member of the team was wearing one of our headbands. So if you look on our Facebook page, you'll see that. We want to do corporate outreach and do team building because I'm sure in every, and I'm speaking generally, but I can only imagine in every facet of businesses around Long Island or all over the United States, there has to be like a family member or a family that is dealing with an illness, like a child in their family is dealing with something, or maybe a parent is in hospice or whatever, but we all need to heal. And the idea is to heal together, the more that we can make eye contact, the more that we can, feel the joy from others. It's unbelievable. And so we were in Newsday last year, and we got some great press from that. We had a 4-page spread, and I'm working hard with different laughter leaders that I've met from all walks of life, and just promoting as much as we can. So
it's unbelievable. You're going to need. I hope you have a team. Is it just the 2 of you at this point?
It's just the 2 of us plus
Wow.
volunteers.
Okay.
Just volunteers.
So I see this getting pretty large. I think your vision is really going to be reaching many, many people. I can only wish that you'll go into so many different areas and worldwide, because there's so many people that can benefit from this. And you're right. I mean, you have corporations where within families there are illness, children as well as adults. I mean, it's every facet, and people need to heal. And also what you're saying is so true is, healing with the laughter, healing with the creative arts, and then getting this back and feeling productive in community. So really wonderful.
And the thing is, the headband, you could wear it as a headband, but, my friend, her daughter fell off her bike, and so her thigh was razor burned. And instead of going out and buying $100 worth of Band-Aids and putting the arnica or whatever she was using, her mother said, "Here, put on a healing headband." And her daughter said, "I'm not going to wear that." But she did. And within 2 days, her skin healed perfectly because it breathes. It's an amazing thing. You can wear it around your neck as a buff. You can wear it, if you had tooth surgery, you could wear it like they used to wear like a handkerchief around your head. I mean, we're thinking about doing a book on 101 unusual ways to wearing your healing headband. We make wristbands, which we hand out when we're at hospitals, and it's made from the same fabric. And it's just, we did a wonderful thing with our school district recently. It's the North Shore School District. They have, Kiwanis is a big factor. So it was the K Club or the Key Club. And so this year this just happened. They went up to Albany, and they take a different nonprofit, or they take a different program as their service project, and they did Healing Headbands this year. I went up to Albany about 2 weeks ago, and in front of all these other school districts throughout New York State, and our school district and our program came first place.
Wow. Congratulations. It's really getting the word out there. So it's really fantastic. So I mostly ask this question as well. And I know you pretty much told me about what you feel intuition is. But the other question I'm thinking, and you pretty much have said it, but we always talk about intuitive hits, so in your business yourself, in the actual business that you've created now, is there been something that you've had an intuitive hit of something that you should do, or like an aha moment? Like, obviously this is all about creativity, and a lot of it is intuition, because I kind of think that being in Guatemala was your intuition, seeing the headbands. But is there anything else that you get these intuitive hits that say, oh, we're going to do this, or we're going to do that? Is there anything that recently happened like that you can share?
Let me think.
Although you touched on a lot. So, there is a lot of aha moments that you've already shared, just to be.
It's funny. There are things that happen. I don't know. I'll have a conversation with somebody, and then a thread from that conversation will be somewhere else later on during the day. And I can't pinpoint it right now, but I'll say, oh, like this was meant to be. Everything is shared. There's whatever it is, there are things that, I don't know, I decide to wear something, and then it's not so much what I'm wearing, but somehow it'll resonate with somebody else, or I'll meet somebody and then they'll say, oh, I know somebody. And I'll think, all right, like yesterday, I went to a thing. There's a woman we share our space with, and she does a lot of women's programs where she helps market women programs, conferences. And so there was something at the mansion in Glen Cove, and I posted it online to try to get as many more women to do this program with. And there was a woman I sent it to, and she came, and I've never met this woman before, but we realized where we knew each other, like there was a common thread, how we knew one another. And it happened to be a woman who I had met after I got my laughter yoga training. There was a woman who was teaching a class in Great Neck, and she was our connector. And it was so cool. I mean, it's like, how nice. Or the people you sit next to, and if you don't open up a conversation, you won't know. So I'm very gregarious, and I love to talk to people, and I have to be careful because I tend to talk too much. But I started talking to this woman, and we realized that there was a reason why it was necessary for us to sit next to one another. It's not necessarily happenstance. There's a reason. And my belief is, and this sounds kind of crazy, but I feel like I don't necessarily believe that there's a God. I'm not a conventional religious person, but I believe that there's something up above, and it'd be the universe. But I feel it's if this thing, this being, I don't know what it is, but this whatever is up there with a Geiger counter. And what we're all on the sign of the infinity sign. And, each step of the way, or each little point, if we go to the right, these are the people we're supposed to meet. Whoever we meet, there's a reason for it. I don't know what it is. And if we make a left, then it'll take us a lot longer to meet the person had we gone right. But these are the people, and these are our experiences. It's meant to be. It's almost like there had been a movie many, many years ago with Gwyneth Paltrow called Sliding Doors. I don't know if you ever saw it, but she gets on the subway, and, she meets somebody, she misses the train, her life goes a different route. But in the end, she meets the person who she met initially they didn't flip the coin. And because in life, we can't flip the coin and see the other side. But it's interesting, if you trace the steps of the people you've met, there's a reason for it. And
I completely agree. I completely agree in synchronicity, and and I'm saying synchronicity, and it doesn't mean happenstance. Synchronicity in the sense of divine timing, that everything has a divine timing, and how you take the right and the left, and who you see throughout your day, the conversations you have,